What's going on, everybody? My name is Stefan Coons, and I am the owner and CEO of Pursuit Health and Performance. And this is the Everyday Pursuit podcast. What's up, everybody? I'm recording this on a Sunday. Yes, I record some podcasts ahead of time. And if you don't know, Sundays are the new Monday for me. I work like mostly the whole day on Sunday just because I want that extra day to get ahead. Call me weird, call me whatever. Some days I will say are like half days. Today was more of a full day, so I'm a little bit tired recording this. But this actually, I'm glad I'm recording it on a Sunday because Sundays, I think for most people, they look at as like their recovery day, like their recharge, right? Like Monday through Friday, they're kind of busy. You know, on Friday night, maybe they're chilling, maybe they're doing stuff. Saturday night, they're doing stuff. And Sunday's like, just like go wake up, go to church or not, relax and just kind of hang out with family and just recharge. And so perfect topic for today is just recovery, specifically ice baths. So I'm going to break this episode into a couple things because I feel like ice bath and sauna are super popular. I mean, at least for me, I get ads for them all the time, maybe because I'm a gym owner and a coach. And so they want me to buy an ice bath, which like I thought about, but I'm going to go into a couple things. Number one, I'm going to go into, is the ice bath all it's hyped up to be, right? Getting like cold plunges and all those things. Like, is it all it's hyped up to be for your recovery? And also, is it a good purchase or should you find a gym that has one? Is it the bee's knees like all these other fitness influencers say, or these people that are sponsored by the companies, right? And then I'm going to tell you my personal experience and what are some things that I think you should focus on. Okay. So please listen to the whole thing though, because when I wrap it up, I think it's going to make sense for you guys if you've even contemplated doing an ice bath or a cold plunge. So here we go. Number one. Okay. The ice bath thing is not new. It might be new to you, but it's been around for years and years and years before I'm born. I'm 32. So I'm sure in the 70s, 60s, 70s, I'm sure it's been around forever. Okay. Now it's becoming popular now because they're coming out with, I mean, I actually don't even really know where it came from. And honestly, I don't give a crap. But like somebody built a cold plunge and got like a CrossFit person on, or like I saw this ad today with Rich Froning, which is like, fittest man in the world. I'm doing air quotes, by the way, which he is an absolute animal. Which he was like, I don't know how many times, 4, 5, 6 times CrossFit world champion. And he's like, oh, I do cold plunge every morning. Yeah, they probably gave him a $10,000 cold plunge for free. And I'm sure he does it every morning or multiple times a day. And I will say this, I think it's just a fad. I do. I'm not saying it's not useful. I'm not saying it's not going to still be around, but as far as it being like a hot commodity, mark my words, people are going to buy cold plunges. And a cold plunge is different than a sauna because a cold plunge is very uncomfortable. A sauna feels good. So I think people that buy saunas, which in Arizona, I see people buy the 1-2 person sauna and they're available all the time on Facebook Marketplace. So that's how I know that people buy them and then they don't use them and they sell them. Okay. However, I think a sauna, whether you're in Arizona or not, I think it'd be used a lot more. Cold plunge is definitely something that I think is not a great investment. Now you could buy all these different companies, but they're ranging from $5,000 to $10,000. And I think for for the benefit you get, I don't know if it's worth it. Now, if you're 100% committed to going 3, 4, 5 days a week forever, like whatever, go get one. And I almost bought one. Number one, I don't have room in my garage gym. Okay. I didn't want to put it outside in Arizona, but here's kind of why I didn't buy one. Let's step out the side of the box for a second. If you're listening to this, I would hope maybe that your goal is to be shredded and jacked and be a performance animal. I mean, that's kind of my goal, right? Like I want to look really good. I want to look fit, but I also want to be able to perform really well. There's some lifestyle stuff. A lot of me working out is for my mental health benefits, which we're going to get to that in a second about the ice baths. But I think most people, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to burn fat, build muscle, and increase your performance. That's what Pursuit Health and Performance is all about. Okay. That is what we do with our first responders, our veteran, our medical professionals, moms, dads, doesn't matter. Like that is our goal. And now sometimes when people say, oh, increase performance, they think like, oh, I'm going to deadlift 1,000 pounds. No, it's just like wherever you are, you're going to get more fit. For some of our people that are military and tactical and all those stuff, yes, they're very performance based. But even training for performance, you're going to look way better, okay, and feel better. Now, like, okay, that's my plug there. But now it's back to the ice baths. And for the ice baths, I think that I actually didn't really try the whole like I'm just going to say ice bath, but it's whatever you want to call it, cold plunge, whatever. I didn't try any ice baths, cold water immersion, whatever, until like probably a few months ago. I just really, I don't know. It never was like a big thing in the industry, right? A few back, man, I remember like 2000, what was it? Like 2000, like 18, the big thing was like hip thrust, which it still is. And it's gotten more popular and more popular. And now it's ice baths. And then that will become popular. Oh no, before that, sorry, 2018 was the massage guns, right? And it was only like a couple companies that had them. Now every company has a massage gun and nobody uses them anymore. But everybody's like, oh, they're the best thing in the world. It's better than a massage. And it, you know, you could train your legs hard and whatever. And people would carry it in the gym, and that's dead. So I do think it's kind of another fad, honestly. I will break it down like this, and here's why. It's such an expensive piece of equipment, and it doesn't really capitalize on recovery like the other things do. Some of the people that I know that are really into ice baths are also into every other health practice. Okay. That's just like the extra cherry on top. They're already sleeping 7-8 hours. They're already getting in all their macronutrients and their micronutrients, their vitamins. They're also exercising almost daily, getting sun, walking, stretching. So that's just like an extra thing. If you think that getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night, drinking alcohol on the weekends, whether it's in moderation or in excess, eating kind of shitty food, and then doing an ice bath is going to make sense, you're missing the mark. Like you're missing it 100%. And you might say, well, ice baths have a study, which I'll put it in the show notes down below about like the effectiveness. Cause I read actually a peer reviewed journal before I did this on ice baths that kind of compares the effectiveness. And I will say this, I do think there's benefits, but if you're like, oh, it makes the brown fat, or who is it? Like, Andrew Huberman was like, oh, it makes the brown fat in your stomach less and makes you lose body fat. Dude, again, people are looking for like a quick thing. Like, oh, all I have to do is just be in a lot of pain for 3 minutes to just sit in this ice bath. It's going to make me more shredded. The people you watch on TikTok that are getting in ice baths that are super shredded, it's not because of the ice bath. Not saying it has no benefit to that at all, but it's so freaking incremental. That guy's already jacked and ripped, possibly on roids or TRT or whatever. But even if he's all natural, he's probably very on point with all of his stuff. And then he happened to get an ice bath and be like, oh, this is really good for my recovery and metabolism and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I spent 17 years lifting without ice baths. Fine. Training people that felt better, looked better, performed better, whatever. So I'm not against it. I just get so sick of the industry being like, this is what was missing all along. No, it wasn't. What was missing all along is the basics that you're not willing to do. Freaking prioritize your damn sleep, give yourself a bedtime, right? Which I know sounds weird as an adult, but little kids have bedtime for a reason because they're not very good at like understanding their body. We kind of have to force them like, hey, I know you're not tired, but you need to go to bed. And I talked about this, I believe, on the last episode. It's the same way. Like, I'm not tired, but I need to get 7 or 8 hours of sleep or 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So I need to go to bed. I know I want to watch Netflix, but I need to go to bed. Having that is way better than an ice bath. Okay. Because we don't need cold water immersion. It's great. There are benefits for sure, but I want to throw that out there because I think that a lot of people think that this recovery thing is what was missing in their life, or, oh, the cold plunge and sauna, whatever makes me feel good. So I will say this. Exercise, I think for me in the last 5 years has become very mental, more than it is physical. However, if we're going to have a truth, let's just be honest with ourselves right now. People say, oh, I work out for the mental. I don't really care about the physical. And I'm like, okay, so pretend you had a gut tomorrow, right? And your gut didn't go away, but you could still exercise and feel good mentally, but you were still just as fat. Is that okay? Well, no. Okay, so the truth is, because you say no, the truth is you actually care about your physique more than you do your mental. I think if we're being honest, most people do. Now, would you want both? Abso-freaking-lutely. But what if you had to pick one? What would you choose? Would you choose zero mental health benefits, right? Like you're just the same mentally, but you were shredded? Or would you pick being out of shape and, being like fighting depression and fighting anxiety and having that post-workout high feeling? Well, good news. You don't have to have one or the other. If you do it right, you get both. You get the shredded body, the confidence, the feeling good mentally, clarity. Like I've talked about this a lot. Me working out and getting a good workout in today was a shitty workout. It was not very planned. I starting this new program and it was like I was in there and I was distracted and I didn't like push myself hard really. And I felt okay after, but you know what it is like getting a good workout and you leave and you're just like, it's like so relaxing. Just like the big deep breath, you blew out your lungs, like awesome, right? Great, great, great feeling. You could do both. But as far as the ice bath goes, like I spent years, I got to be a published fitness model without using an ice bath. And you might say, well, that's you and blah, blah, blah. That's not the point. The point is like what you're trying to achieve probably has nothing to do with that type of recovery. It probably has to do with too much alcohol, eating shitty food, too much stress at your job, too much stress in your marriage or with your kids. And I'm not dogging on that. I have that stress too, but bad stress management with poor diet, with poor sleep, with staring at a screen all day, with excess alcohol. You need less screen time. You need more sun. You need like getting the sun, right? You need more sunlight. You need more just movement throughout the day. You need more freaking fresh air. Get out of your office, right? You probably work from home. Take a break, set a timer, go on a walk down the block and up. Like you need more of that. All that is 10 times the ROI than going in an ice bath. I do think it. Now, the reason I say that is because the ice bath, unless you have one in your house, which if you want to spend the money, I'm all for it. I chose not to make that investment. But if you have one in your house, great. But for a lot of you guys, your gyms, all the older gyms or big box gyms usually don't have ice baths. If they do, go use it. Totally fine. 100%. But I worry about people like, I got to drive 20 minutes to this recovery place or the special place and do my ice bath and do this ritual. And it took you an hour. Like there's a place down the road that I signed up for it. It's a group fitness place, great place, nothing against it. But I did it for the recovery room, which is a sauna and ice bath. So I kind of fell in this trap. And I'm really busy. I'm in a super, super busy season of my life with this job, which I love it, but some days it's hard for me to pull away. I know I have about an hour to an hour and a half to work out. And it is only a 5-minute drive, but I have to drive there. Sometimes there's people in the cold plunges, but it's like probably like a 5-minute drive. So 7 minutes to like get in there, 8 minutes, whatever. Then I got to like get in there, sit in the sauna, whatever, go out back, shower, dry off. Like the whole thing is like 40 minutes, which you might be like, wow, that's not that bad sitting in the sauna and doing the cold plunge. It's not that bad. And maybe it's a mental barrier for me, but I'm like, that's half my workout. You know what I mean? That's half my workout time. And I have a gym at my house that I train pretty religiously at. And so I'm like, well, if I only have an hour and a half, and my goal is right now is to increase muscle, probably stick at the body fat I have, become very mobile and strong. That has nothing to do necessarily with my recovery. Now, my recovery from that is very important. But again, sleep trumps ice baths. Good nutrition trumps an ice bath. I would argue that sunlight, movement, and fresh air trumps an ice bath for recovery. I would. I do think that. Because if you're like, pretend you got no fresh air, no sunlight, and barely any movement, but you got an ice bath. Not a good trade-off. Imagine you ate like shit, but you got an ice bath. Bad trade-off. Imagine you lifted, or imagine instead of lifting heavy, you did an ice bath. So we just proved right there that the ice bath is below, it is subpar to all those other things. Because if you had to pick one, why is the ice bath last? I would hope you would agree with me on this, okay? I would hope that you think movement, fresh air, and sunlight is more important than 3 to 5 minutes of an ice bath. If we're not on the same page, that's news to you. I'm right. Like you can argue with, again, you're entitled to your opinion. Not really on this show. No, I'm just kidding. No, you can argue with me. If I had to pick, I think most people would agree that most health coaches would say, yes, those things they trump. They're more important for those specific goals. Okay. Now here's where the caveat comes in. I know I've been like shitting on ice baths for like 15 minutes. That's not the point. If you're really going out and you're working out mostly for mental, I think an ice bath can be really helpful. I will say the reason I signed up is I went and tried it and I felt like so good after. And maybe it's a little placebo of me like feeling like I should feel good, but I will say there's some physiological things. It's really challenging. I'm not a big fan of the cold. Like it does get a little bit easier. But like, if I'm being honest, there's probably some avoidance of like, man, it's cold. You can call me a puss or whatever, but it's like not the most enjoyable thing. Like the benefits are enjoyable. But again, I, I think for a lot of people we deal with, like the veterans and the first responders and the medical professionals, they're busy. They're very busy. They work long shifts. They have families. And a lot of them can only dedicate like, or only want to slash can dedicate 1 hour to an hour and 15 minutes a day. Using 20 to 30 minutes of that for like sauna and whatever, I don't know if that's going to help you get your goal. Like you can do all the ice baths you want. It's never going to make you jacked and ripped if you don't prioritize your strength training, your nutrition, and your recovery through sleep, water, and stuff like that. Okay. That's my only thing. Now, that being said, I do think ice baths are great. Like I felt really good mentally. And one day I had a really, really bad, like my lower back was like seizing up inflammation. And I did the ice bath and I actually felt substantially better. So I'm a little torn. If you can't tell, I'm a little biased. Like I think that if the ice bath is a very convenient thing, like if your gym has one, you can do all your things and you jump in for a few minutes, dude, go ahead. That's awesome. Best of both worlds. Because when I open our own gym, hopefully sooner than later, I'm going to put a recovery room in there because I think if it's at your gym, fine. But this is new. A lot of gyms are opening with a recovery room, but a gym you're going to, maybe like a big box gym, they probably have like a sauna, which is again, fine. And like, if you have the time, I just want to preface this. If you're like, oh, I did a Saturday workout and I have Saturday off and you went and you know, whether you have, I guess if you have kids, maybe have a babysitter or whatever. But if you're like, I can go to the gym basically as long as I want today and you want to crush your workout. And then after you want to sit in the sun and drink water and sweat, dude, 100%. That's awesome. That's actually probably really, really good for you. Same thing with the cold plunge, but my frustration comes with the push to where like, this is the holy grail that's been missing. Hopefully you understand that. If you're really going because you have, and we deal with a lot of clients, even in our program right now, that have depression, anxiety, like pretty bad, I think it could help. I think another thing too, is it does create a little bit of willpower. Like it sucks. It's very painful. It's very uncomfortable. And it makes you have control of your body. One of our holistic coaches, Riley, she's really big into like cold therapy and ice baths and stuff. And it does create some mental fortitude and mental toughness for sure. Like doing that daily practice, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it today, but you do anyways, which is basically a lot of the theme of this podcast, that emotional disconnection, temporary emotional disconnection. Just to clarify that, because I think you guys should be super in touch with your emotions, but it's a switch. Sometimes you got to like turn it on and off, right? Like if somebody broke into your home and you were scared, do you think it would be beneficial to just be like, oh, let me just dig into let me feed into my scared emotions? Or do you need to like turn that switch off and turn the switch off of like, I'm going to kill this person? Like, right? Which one's going to protect you? So that's all I'm talking about, the temporary emotion. And I do think it helps. Just like when I used to be a group fitness instructor and I'd do HIIT classes, I knew it was just going to be hell. But the fact that I'm like, let's go, like almost the opposite. Like instead of whimpering or cowering, I'm like, I'm going to just make this workout my bitch. Excuse my language, but I'm going to crush this workout. I'm going to absolutely annihilate it. It's pushing towards the opposite. And you'll see some people in the ice bath videos that go like they're getting themselves pumped up and they go in and they're just like, and I have a video like that of me doing it. And it's this mental thing where you're actually going against the grit. And that's good because I think society in general, a lot of people lack that. It's like, oh, I don't feel like it. Man, why? You should go and follow your heart. No, that's not saying it's terrible advice, but I think a lot of what people are looking for deep down inside is like the grit. And the grit is getting it done no matter what, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how tired you are, regardless of how uncomfortable you are, like grinding through it, right? And grit is a great quality. And that's one of my strengths. Maybe not. I mean, there's some people that are 10,000 times more badass than me, so I'm not bragging, but in some aspects I have grit. And look, I used to be a physical grinder. Like I wanted to go in special forces. I wanted to do all these things. I just wanted to put myself through so much physical punishment. As I get older, I've actually just transitioned that mindset to things that are maybe more important to me, like success in my business and my family. Does it mean I don't crave an awesome physique? Absolutely not. I want to be as shredded as I can be, but I have like my areas. Um, the reason I've even mentioned that with the ice bath again is like prioritizing what's important to you. I talk about that a lot on these podcasts and try to tie it into most episodes because I think we live in a society, at least for me, when I get on my phone, there's a lot of information like, oh, do this mobility or you have tight hips and this and this. You can't do everything all at once. Take it from somebody, and this is just from the physical standpoint, like life aside. From a physical standpoint, having your goals, dude, I have so many goals. I want to be more flexible. I have some shoulder impingement right now. I have a meniscus thing that I probably have to get surgery on, unfortunately. But I have like some injuries that I kind of have to work on. Oh, but I also want to be more flexible. Oh, but I also want to be more mobile. I also would like more muscle. I also would like my strength to go up. And then I also want my body fat to decrease. Most coaches have goals like that. And it is, if you really break it down, it's you physically can't really work on all those goals effectively at the same time. And so I think when people look, and trust me, I see this every week. People fall into this, they have to do everything. I got to do the exercise and I got to do the cardio. And oh, on Saturdays I do yoga to recover. Oh, and I have to hit this protein and I have to do this. And they're living their life like nothing against people that want to do just fitness stuff all day long, because I'm probably used to be one of those people or kind of still am. But like there's a point where your returns aren't really worth your effort. Again, if you have all the time and you don't have kids and you have a job that allows you to do that, more power to you. It's better than doing anything else and drinking and partying and eating shitty food. Like go take care of yourself. But if you're like, man, I'm struggling to stay really consistent, or I'm in the very beginning, the ice bath is the last thing you should worry about. I really, truly believe that. Especially if it's inconvenient, especially if it costs you more money, and especially if you feel like you're already too busy to train consistently and work out, because that's the number one BS excuse I hear. I'm just really busy. I'm just really busy. I don't have a lot of time. It's really hard for me to get in my workout with my schedule. Blah, 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 freaking blah. Dude, I've heard it all. And these excuses might be legitimate, but the problem with excuses like that too, is it doesn't matter. Like if we're really being, again, if we're being honest here, it doesn't matter, because whether you are legitimately busy, you might have a job where you're working a lot. You might have 17 kids. You might be super freaking busy. Okay. That's your life. Awesome. That's your life. Did you choose this life? Or is this the life that, even if you didn't choose it, really, is this the life that you're having now and you're probably going to continue to have for, the next year? Yes, Coach Stefan. All right, sweet. We're on the same page. High five. So now it's your job to figure out how to make this shit work. And I'm here to help you. Like this, like the conversation I have with clients sometimes. I'm here to help you, but that's your life. Do you still want to get in shape? Yes, it's very important to me. Are you sure? Yes, it's very, very important. Okay. So now we have to strategize the next best thing. So you can't say, oh, I'm too busy or whatever, especially if I catch you freaking sitting in saunas and doing ice baths. That, I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. And doing all this recovery stuff, which again, I'm not against. I think there's some benefits, but if you say you don't have time, if you're missing your workouts, but then you sit in the sauna because it feels good, well, I'm sorry, but sitting in a sauna and going in an ice bath is not going to help you get jacked and shredded. Like it's just not. It's I don't know what else to say on it. It's just not it's not what is missing for you. Now, all that aside, I will say that I wouldn't be surprised. I'm wanting to open our own location here, hopefully pretty soon. And if I do, I want an ice bath in there because, again, the convenience. And we do train people that are like higher level, and everybody's different. We might train some people that train 3 to 4 days a week and they want to come in and just roll out and stretch and go in the ice bath on their day off. That is what I feel like it's meant for. Okay. And at that point, it is a very effective tool. And at that point, when you're consciously making some extra time to like go recover, or possibly you just are dedicating more time to the gym, like Steph, and I'm gonna get an hour workout and then I'm gonna sit in the sauna and then take an ice bath, and I already blocked out an hour and 40 minutes. Yes. Okay. Now that is your goal. Cool. Strength training. So you're doing that for an hour. You're doing the sauna and the cold plunge for 15 minutes after. Cool. Thumbs up. That works. How many days a week are you doing that? 4. There we go. That is what it's meant for. If you're doing that, I'm so pro ice bath and sauna, like go freaking ahead. That's awesome. And that was also my kind of original plan is I'd train in my garage, but then drive there. And then like, it just didn't work out. Like I probably need it in my house. And so I would not be surprised if in the future, I don't have really room here, but if I had an ice bath and a sauna at my house, because I'm willing to dedicate that time. But if you're pretty busy and you're struggling, I'd say if you're working out 4 to 6 days a week consistently for an hour to an hour and a half within that range, and that's something you want to add, I'm going to support that. I'll support it hard. But if you're working out less than that and you're thinking about adding it, don't add it. Whatever time, money, effort, whatever that you would take into purchasing an ice bath or going somewhere where they have one or whatever, I just train more. I would strength train more. I would work on mobility and end range motion more. I would get in more sleep. I would do all these different things. My only caveat would be if you are trying to reduce depression and anxiety and get off medication and do things the natural way, go ahead. That might be a great tool. I'm not against it. You know, I have heard of people say like, oh, I go on a walk and I do this, and then I go back to my house. Usually they have it at their house, and I go in the sauna, ice bath, and I just sleep so amazing and blah, 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 blah. Dude, that's awesome. Like 100% I'm down. That's why I said, I'm sure one day I'll get one. I just want you guys to understand what to focus on as far as the basics go. So hopefully this helps. I don't know. I've been looking at like 4 or 5 different companies the past couple months, just in case I buy one for the gym and some saunas. I mean, dude, there's some freaking pretty pricey cold plunge out there, and you can make them yourself with like a deep freezer. I've watched tons of Pinterest and DIY things, and I think that's pretty cool for sure. I think that'd be easier. However, I know like buying the filter and the pump and all that gets expensive. I'd just rather buy it from a company. I know it's more money. Maybe it's not the right way to do it, but I don't know. We'll hit the crossroads when it comes to it. So I know this episode was a little bit different, but I feel like I want to address the fads and different things you guys are getting pushed towards through the fitness industry. Please stick to the basics. Sounds cliche. I understand like, oh, but I want it. This is fun. Like, okay, again, it's not going to get you the results you want if you're looking to burn body fat, build muscle, increase your performance. The ice bath is probably the last thing you should really worry about. However, if you're already taking care of those things, great addition. I really do. I really believe it's a great addition. But you also have to understand that like it has been around forever. It is not this like new thing we just discovered. You're just having TikTok, podcaster, Instagram people that are now talking about it, and videos are going viral. So in your brain, you think this is the best stuff since freaking sliced bread, but that's not the point. Okay. Also, if I were you and you're really serious about it, maybe it's more beneficial to go somewhere with one when the whole like fad, because it's going to go on for like 2 more years. I guarantee you. When the whole fad drops down, then you start buying them. And it was the same thing with the Hyperice massage guns, dude. They were so expensive and like nobody else sold them. Now you can go buy them at Walmart for $20 and they probably suck. But I bought a Hypervolt, I think it was a brand, for like, I bought like the best one for like $400 or $500. It's like insanely expensive, which it was really good. I used it on like 3 clients. They complained that it hurt and I never used it again and sold it. So again, like I don't want you guys falling into the thing where you think you're going to buy all this fancy stuff and it just never becomes part of your routine for like 6 months and then you sell it because you're going to lose a bunch of money. And that is what I'm afraid of, which is why I'll probably only buy one for a gym. So I appreciate it, guys. If you thought this episode was valuable, I do ask that you pause it. Give us some type of review, hopefully a 5-star, also a follow on Spotify. Or if you want to if you're watching it off a clip, if you want to share the clip and tag us would be super awesome. We're on Instagram at pursuit_HP, or you can find my personal Instagram, which is Stephen_Coons_fit. It will be right here on the bottom of the screen. I appreciate it, guys. I love you, and we'll talk to you.